1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, good evening, afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Silver and Citadel here, coming from an earlier time at 6 o'clock UK time, on the 1st of March, my birth month, 1st of March. And I just want to wish you a very good day. And I just said, let me just come on today because I've just been, and I'm sure you have also have been, looking at the news and the whole thing about coronavirus, right? Coronavirus, to the point that I, I think a couple of days ago, went out of my way to get one Carex, two Carex, three Carex, and four more Carex. These are hand gels for quick dry disinfectant. Yeah. And it is interesting how somehow you're not sort of really, I would say, one is not sometimes capturing the essence of what is happening around us. Now, first of all, I'll put somewhat of a disclaimer, and the key disclaimer is that I have no, what should I say, no expertise when it comes on to science, no expertise when it comes on to anything to deal with medical issues, medical stuff, dealing with viruses. But I think that at the same time, it would be good to know and to hear what persons have to say about this. Coronavirus. Coronavirus, to the point that I've seen whereby even the Corona bear has been losing out. Corona bear has been losing out because of the whole issue regarding the coronavirus. And today in the UK, the news came out that what they said, 12 more cases confirmed in England. 12 more cases confirmed in England. Right? 12 more cases confirmed in England. And what they've been saying, and this is what they've been saying, is that there's a word they call it for countries who are forget what the word is called, prone countries which are prone to have the virus, or they call it these particular countries. So the question is, when does the UK become one of those countries where is one of those key territories? Because they say that people are coming from Italy, from a particular region, people are coming from China, from a particular region, and if people are coming from some key areas, then they've got to be quarantined for 14 days. But for the UK, when it will be. What is this coronavirus? Some are saying it's some biochemical warfare thing. Some are saying it is don't look into it too much because it is the same thing as a cold. But the fact of the situation is that people are just dying left, right, and center. And the question is, do you take it serious or you don't take it serious? Do you walk around with all of these? Well, they say one of the best things to do is, I'm not promoting Carex or whatever, is because I will just say, let me just pop around these stores. I remember one time, believe it or not, I had a lot of these disinfectants in my hand. You remember when, which was the last thing which was going on? And the hospitals were saying you got to wipe your hands. I got a lot of them. And to the point whereby they all dried out in a cupboard which I had to throw them away. Looking for them, I realized, wow, all of them was dried out. These are these and hand gel disinfectants. Going around trying to find any, there is none. I mean, totally wiped out. I mean, totally wiped. I went to Tesco's even today. The lady said, what we're going to say to our boss is to somewhat, get a lot of them in. But at the same time, they are believing that they are running out completely of these, disinfectant. They are saying that the best antidote for the whole coronavirus is to wash your hands. Yeah, wash your hands properly. That's one of the key things, is to wash your hands properly. Now, I don't know what anyone think about this, and what's your views about it. What is your take? I'd love to know what is your take on it. Uh, do you believe there's something sinister going on, or do you believe it is just like you had the SARS and you got the Ebola, and one has got to take precaution? Do you believe that there's a, a prescription already out there, and somehow these guys are just trying to make some money out of it? Some are actually saying that the world population has gone completely berserk, so therefore this is a way how to gain population. I think Prince Charles one time said the world has got too much people. I think the great Microsoft Bill Gates at one point they were talking about that there's too much people in the world. I don't know. What do you think about that? Is it a culling process? Conspiracy theorists may say so. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm actually just regurgitating some of the things which have been said out there, and it'd be great to hear what your views and your take is on this. But if I just recap, and if I just capture what has been the latest, and the latest is that 12 more patients in England have tested positive for coronavirus, taking the total number of UK to 35. Now, I live in the area of Lewisham, South London, and the other day we saw, I think a couple of weeks ago, whereby they said a lady coming from one of those areas took a taxi, which was a Uber cab, and went to a hospital. Now, when she said went to the hospital, we weren't taking it serious. And we said the person went to Lewisham Hospital. I said, oh my days, that's very close to comfort. You know, that I started to think of these movies like The Legend with Will Smith. Where's Will Smith? Started to think of these zombie movies. You know what I mean? When everybody's going out there, going crazy, going thing. I don't know, but as a Christian, my faith and my trust is in God. So therefore, that's another thing as well. 12 more patients in England have tested positive for coronavirus, taking the total number of UK cases to 35. 3 patients were a close contact of a known case, which was transmitted in the UK, the chief medical officer said. One person, and this is a key thing, one person from Essex had no relevant travel, and it was unclear how they had got the virus, while the remaining 8 had visited affected areas. Now, remember what I said a while ago? Affected areas. I couldn't remember what was the term, but this is a term, affected areas. So the question is, when and at what point will the UK, if anything, as it is increasing, considered affected territories? When is the USA or key areas are considered as affected territories? Jamaica recently had a boat, was once in a dock in Otrius, which is the land of my birth and the homeland of my birth. And that boat actually was turned back because there was a member of staff who was being quarantined on the boat. So that boat was turned back. Yeah. So what they said is, Matt Hancock said the UK was still in containment phase of the outbreak. He added that it was inevitable the virus would continue to spread across the country. And it's of the case announced on Sunday, 6 had recently returned from Italy and 2 had been to Iran. Those 8 patients were from London, West Yorkshire, Great Manchester, Hertfordshire, and Gloucester, and include 1 person from Bury who had been affected in Italy, 2 Leeds residents who had both been in Iran, 1 person from Bradford who had travelled to Italy. A professor said, the chief medical officer said that all of the newly identified cases were being investigated and health officials had begun tracing anyone who had close contact with them. Right? It goes further. On Friday, a man from Surrey became the first person to be infected within the UK. The patient was being treated at Guy's and St Thomas Hospital in central London had not been abroad recently, unlike the other cases in the country. So what we're looking at is now, hang on a second, what we're talking about is people coming from affected areas, but now persons who are affected are persons who are not from affected areas. So therefore, it seems like people are in the system, going around with the virus and don't know that they are the virus, and therefore people are actually catching it. What do you do? What do we do about that? Is it a scary process? Are you scared? Are you not scared? One of the medical people, that what they say is it normally affects or become deadly to persons who have ailment. The immune system is a bit weak. Elderly persons, those are the type of persons who are being who are dying. Still, that's not healthy because every day people are getting sick. You know, people have flu. I mean, we're in a temperature where the weather swings left, right, and center. Today is hot, tomorrow is cold, and as a result of that, everything up. What's your take on this whole thing? Because you know, you got children in school, and with children in school, schools are actually saying that if it actually goes to a certain proportion, then school will have to close for a couple of months, right? Now, you got to think about this now, and this is of a person now. If you work in an industry whereby you have to be there, where you have to physically be there, how would you survive? Say, for instance, you work in the tourism industry, whereby you're a guide or you're someone out there physically. You're in the hospital industry, where your hands and you physically have to be there. How do you survive? What will happen there? Is there going to be? This is one of the things long term down the road, and that is why it is so important. And I keep saying this all the while for persons to think of other ways of creating income, other ways. And this is not a pitch to talk about other ways of online business, but online business actually is one of those not foolproof way, but a way that persons now have to think about ways of offsetting when these particular things happen. You know, online network marketing. This is an area because everything is so much online now, right? People, if anything happens, and say for instance, I give a classic case. Tesco supermarket in Catford or Sainsbury, somebody have coronavirus and they shut down the whole place. Shut it down while they do spring clean and everything like that. You can't go to the supermarket, right? Persons who are working there are unable to work, right? And then for school now, you're unable to send your children to school. And if you're unable to send the children to school, who is going to take care of your children? You don't want any strangers now to start coming because everybody is now trying to quarantine themselves. And these are just some of the things I was thinking about. You know, thinking about ways, how do one think ahead with this whole coronavirus? And it'd be good to hear your views and hear what. And I'm just throwing this one out because I said, let me just deal with this particular issue. I've not done any video on it, and I said, let me just look at this whole concept of this coronavirus. And as I said, one of the things that persons need to do, whether before or after this coronavirus, whether it hits the UK, whether not, whether it hits wherever you are, one has got to think, how do you sustain yourself during this course of time? We have seen the movies, and movies that shows the zombie thing, where the key thing and everything, what everybody runs after in the first instant is food. Everybody's running for tin food. Everybody's making sure there's water. Everybody's making sure that they can sustain themselves at that time. How will you sustain yourself during the time if they become a pandemic? And when there's a pandemic, then you go this craziness whereby everybody, and therefore this is whereby things become scarce. What they're talking about, even these things that you put on your face now, these masks. I had a couple of them. I had a few of them, but I was for gardening. I still have a couple of them, but it's for gardening. You know what I mean? Making sure the grass and the dust doesn't come up in my phone. So all of that, it doesn't make sense to go and look for that now at Selco or any other places. That's all gone. Hand gels, as I said, I don't know if anybody have these hand gels. I got all these hand gels for my children. You know, I think in Kent, where I bought these when I was in Kent, they actually said the children are not allowed in school. I don't think they meant it allowed in school, but they all have these hand gels whereby every time they go anywhere, they wipe their hands. And I find myself doing that now. One of the things also, and I guess people know, when you go to the bathroom, and you've seen this, when you go to the bathroom, you see somebody just dash out of that cubicle and they're gone. I say, wow. And I always say to myself, now I know definitely whose hands I won't shake today. I know definitely who if stretch out their hands to meet me, they won't. I was at court the other day and I saw a client, and I stretched out my hand to shake the client's hand, and the client said, "Whoa, you shouldn't be doing that these days. Shouldn't stretch out your hands to shake person's hand." So therefore, all of that has to be now taken into consideration. Now, the Health Secretary Matt Hancock, this is for the UK, and I don't know wherever you're from in the world. He told the BBC, said an emergency battle plan drawn up for the worst case scenario, including banning big events, closing schools, and dissuading people from using public transport. And that is why I was surprised when Greta Thunberg, the girl who should be in school, was having this big climate demonstration or whatever in Bristol. I was surprised that that went ahead. One first thing I said, that should have been contained, right? Say containment, caring for any infected people and identifying their close, their close contact, delay, deciding what action to take to slow down the spread, mitigation, damage limitation if the virus spreads widely, research, constant and ongoing work to inform the three other phases. Now, I saw an article recently, as I've been following up, where Israel saying they're a couple of weeks away from getting a virus, getting an antidote. And I believe there's an antidote somewhere. I believe there's, the Bible didn't talk about viruses going to take away this world or get rid of us or anything like that. I talk about wars and rumors of war. They don't talk about virus. And I believe God is on the throne. And I believe what we need to do is make sure you wash your hands. Don't put your hands on your face too much unless you are actually disinfecting yourself. And the question, why is your hands? Why is your hands? Because that's why they said even the whole, what should I say, the face mask, after it gets wet, it has no basis. It's poor. It's not good enough. What do you say about that? Have you got a face mask? Yeah. Have you got these gels? Do you wash your hands regularly? I'm sure everybody's going to say they wash their hands regularly. Those on YouTube as well and those on Facebook. Research, constant ongoing work to inform the three other phases, right? And it is growing. Currently, the UK is, as I said, is in the containment phase, which health leaders say may still be sufficient. But the next phase could see broader social distancing measures. The minister said, did not rule out following China's lead in shutting down cities if the outbreak escalated, but there was clear a huge economic and social downside to that. Watch Legend. I would say to the person, watch Legend if you haven't seen that show with Will Smith. I'm not scaring anybody and stuff like that, but watch Legend. Labour Shadow Health Secretary Jonathan Ash said Mr. Hancock must give more detail of any emergency powers he wants to bring in so that the MPs can properly scrutinize the plans. I've been watching and seeing, like in China, what they do. I mean, they're very brutal. They're cleaning everything left, right, and center. They're telling people stop eating dogs. Well, I won't go any further on that one. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said, who will chair a meeting of the government's Cobra Emergency Committee on Monday, visited Public Health England on Sunday to discuss attempts to limit the spread of virus, shutting down towns, shutting down city. If that happens and you cannot go out, how would you sustain yourself? Will you be able to work? Is your job one that takes you out physically out of the house? Have you got online where your sort of work that you're doing? Is it online? Is it whereby you can work from home? I know my job. I've got to go to court. I've got to physically go to court. I've got to go there, stand before the judge. I know that. But I know there are cases where you can do it online and you can do it over the phone. Those things have happened when it comes on to emergency applications. And unfortunately, the majority of what I do is online. One can do most of everything. Hi, Mira Jean, how are you? You can do that online. So the Foreign Office, contact with operators, and even for those who are actually traveling. Are you going to travel? Are you going to stop traveling? What is the travel industry? Travel industry is getting a beating, right? But let's look at some of the symptoms. And this is my public service to this whole cause here. And I'm sure everybody is familiar and cognizant of it, but I'll just report it. I'll just repeat it. A virus causing severe lung disease that started in China has spread to more than 50 countries, including the UK. Coronavirus has infected 78,927 people in China as of 28th February. 2,790 of them died. What are the symptoms? Start with a fever, followed by a dry cough. After a week, it leads to shortness of breath, and some patients require hospital treatment. Right? Symptoms: headache, right? Cough, muscle pain, shortness of breath, breathing difficulties. I remember, for those who are in Jamaica, there was one recently called Chick or something like that, Chick, and I believe that was one that affected a lot of people. I think people still have it, and it was deadly, but I believe it wasn't fatal. But it becomes fatal when persons who have ailment and who have particular sickness, so therefore it latches onto that. They said the virus seemed to start with a fever. Listen to this: fever. Have you got a fever? Followed by a dry cough, and then after a week lead to shortness of breath, and some patient needing hospital treatment. Yeah, and that sources from WHO. Incubation period between infection and showing no any symptoms lasts up to 14 days, according to the WHO. But some researchers say it may be as long as 24 days. So the question is this, and I don't know this, and this is a good one. When those guys are putting that thing on people's face and just testing them, how do they know that they have it? Is it because of a fever? I don't know. Maybe I should do some more research, and I'm sure it's all out there. And they give the go-ahead to go clear for them to travel. But that 14-day period is crucial. Like the lady who went in a taxi and went to the hospital, she took a Uber taxi. Now the Uber taxi took her there, then the Uber taxi went on its way. Fortunately for Uber, they can actually trace persons back. But after the persons that they have traced, where have those persons gone to? Right? Right? Some Chinese scientists say many people may be infectious even before their symptoms appear. Based on data from 44,000 patients with this coronavirus, WHO says 81% develop mild symptoms, 14% develop severe symptoms, 5% become critically ill. The proportion dying from a disease which has been named COVID-19 appeared low between 1% and 2%, but the figures are unreliable. Yet at the same time, persons were saying, come on guys, relax and chill. Many people die from cold every day, you know. People are dying from cold, dying from fever, from pneumonia. And some are trying to belittle it. I wouldn't want to belittle it. I would want people to be on their P's and Q's. I want people to wash their hands properly. I don't want people to look out for strange people. I mean, the other day, I took the train. I don't take the train that much. I took the train to South London to an event at the Jamaica High Commission. And I tell you, it was in peak period when I took the train. And I said, we were with a friend. It was a bit uncomfortable, very uncomfortable, because you're packed. It was peak period, 5:36, peak, packed on the platform, packed in the train, people breathing right in your face. You can't get rid of it. You know what I mean? And it was a really uncomfortable feeling, right? And especially for one that doesn't use a train a lot, right? And also, you can imagine, and there are some young people, apparently they were from overseas, and they were all singing. When I used to work with Madame Tussauds, I remember a lot of young people, when they go to the exhibitions and they're out there in London enjoying South Kensington, they're all singing and having a good time. But that was expressing breath, you know what I'm saying? You just don't know anyway, but so what they said, thousands are still being treated but may go on to die. So the death rate could be higher, but it's also unclear how many mild cases remains unreported, so the death rate could also be lower. So what I say, to put this into context, about 1 billion people catch influenza every year. This is what I was saying. 1 billion people catch flu every year, with between 290,000 and 650,000 deaths. I repeat, 1 billion people catch influenza every year, with between 290,000 and 650,000 deaths per year. The severity of the flu changes every year, right? Can coronavirus be treated or cured? And this is the big question. Right now, treatment relies on the basic, keeping the patient's body going, including breathing support, until their immune system can fight off the virus. The work to develop a vaccine is underway, and it's hoped that there will be human trials before the end of the year. You what I said? It is hoped that there will be human trial before the end of the year. Now, this article was written in last year, 2019, like in December, or it would be good if it was written in November, October, September, to say at the end of the year. They're talking about the end of 2020. Hospitals are also testing antiviral drugs to see if they have an impact. So to break it down, 21st of January, 309 cases. 28th of January, 4,524 cases. Beijing. 7th of February, 31,198 cases. 14th of February, double, 63,922 cases. 21st of February, 75,343 cases. 28th of February, 78,927 cases, more than 65,000 cases. Right? So, before I go, let me just settle down in how can I protect myself? How can we protect ourselves? What should I do to prevent catching and spreading the virus? And number one, ladies and gentlemen, number one, I'm sure we're all doing this, but we can always do it better. Wash hands frequently with soap and water, or use a sanitizer gel. Bing! I'm not promoting Carex, but try to find these. The stores are running out, right? It comes in very handy, you know, everything. You go to the rubbish bin, you don't know, you pop, I don't use, I don't know if you guys do that. I don't use McDonald's, that thing where you touch, because a few years ago or last year, they said they saw excrement, samples or whatever on it, right? People come from everywhere. I mean, their nose, blah, blah, blah. People coming out of the bathroom. You can see that. You have seen that. You have evidence that. You've seen people coming out of the, you might even do it yourself. Rush out of the cubicle. After doing a number two, walk right out. Bam. Yuck. And then they go, if anything, and they touch that thing there. And worst of all is even in the bathroom, when you come out of the bathroom, you actually have to pull on that thing. So I always have a napkin or so. Sometimes I use my hand or whatever and pull it up because, ooh, it's gross. Some people out there are nasty. You know what I'm trying to say? And that is something which is very concerning. There's a video going around recently of this lady in an elevator, and people are coughing, they're smearing things all over it. Don't know if it was before the coronavirus or what, but still it was nasty. Right? So now people, when they go into the elevator now, they're actually touching with tissues or whatever like that, and instantly, because we're like this, rubber our eyes and stuff like that. That's it. That's the first thing we're doing. We were talking the other day. I was on a show, and they were talking about when footballers, when they actually lose a goal or something like that, or they kick to try to score and they were unsuccessful, they go like this. Oh, put your hands on your face. The least good thing you're rubbing your face. It's natural. But where were your hands? What were your hands touching before? Right? Think about that. Cough, catch coughs and sneezes with disposable tissues. Always hate when somebody goes, and they cough, and you can feel it come across at you, bam. And there's nothing you can do because you're just about to inhale. Because we inhale oxygen and, we exhale and inhale. Bam. You cannot stop that. In a train, in a closed place. Bam. Catch cough and sneeze with disposable tissues. Throw away tissues, then wash hands. That is your tissues. That is your cough. You wash hands. If you don't have a tissue, use your sleeve. And then you go and wash your clothes as well. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. So what I'm saying, why I'm doing that is because I just did this a while ago. Because I've been touching things. You go to the supermarket. I went to the shop today. Got my hard-dough bread, I'm trying to say, in a plastic. Got put in a plastic. But at the same time, where did that plastic come from? Then I went to get a couple other things, right? In the supermarket. Yes, got some guava juice and some mango juice. this was there. Maybe somebody actually took it up and put it back down. Where were they? Right? There was a video I saw where a guy saw someone took out some pastry. That's why I don't like these pastry places or these supermarkets where the pastries are completely open, where people can take up what they want and put it back. Because some use their hands. Yuck. Think about those things for a second. So the guy took up a couple of the pastry with his hands, then he put it right back. And that guy said, "Listen, you gotta buy that. You're gonna have to buy that. I'm gonna knock you out." I said, "Hey, I'm gonna knock you out if you don't." Not me. This is what the guy said. The video is going around with this guy who took up some pastry and put it back, because somebody's gonna pick up that croissant. Somebody's gonna trust that the supermarket is a safe place and a safe haven. But some cheeky bastards actually took it up and put it back there. And you've seen some videos going around with some young people, crazy people, drinking drinks, putting it back, spitting into things and put it back, eating ice cream, put it back. Disgusting. Disgusting. So I believe it's the nastiness in this world is actually creating these things. But guess what? God is not stupid, right? And our body also have built-in mechanism that can withstand many things. And that's why it's so funny. It comes back to the basic. Wash hands, catch cough and cold, throw away tissues. If you don't use a tissue, use a sleeve. Avoid touching your nose. Avoid close contact with people who are unwell. What do you do if your family becomes unwell? What if you do if your family lives in the same place? What do you do? Those are serious questions, So the final thing with the advice in the UK is, anyone experience symptoms, if mild, after traveling from mainland China, Thailand, Japan, Republic of Korea, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore, Malaysia, or Macau in the last 4 days, is advised to stay indoors and call the NHS 111 phone service. 111 phone service, a new service. 111 phone service. If you return from the following specific area since February 19, you should call NHS 111 and stay indoors. Avoid contact with people even if you do not have symptoms. So if you came back from one of these places, stay away. Quarantine yourself. Iran, places, lockdown areas in Northern Ireland, special care. If you return from the following areas since February 19 and develop symptoms, stay indoors. Italy, Northern, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, not Lagos, Laos, Myanmar. Foreign Office now advise against all but essential travel to 10 small towns in Lombardy and one in Italy, which has been isolated by the country's authority. How fast it is spreading? Thousands of new cases have been reported each day. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not take this lightly. Let's take it serious. Let's not sort of belittle it, because I say it's conspiracy theory, but take it really serious. Wash your hands, and as much as possible, get these gels. As a matter of fact, there must be some ways how we can create it. Let's see if we can get some scientists who can actually use soap and whatever and can create them ourselves and actually put it out there. I think it would be an ingenious way to do it. But most important, and this is what I want to leave you with, is this: what if it happens? What if you're quarantined? What if you're in a situation whereby you can't get out? What if your job and your livelihood depends on you physically going somewhere, but you can't? You're the breadwinner. You're the source of income from your family. What happens then? Right? So therefore, you got to think about those things. And you don't wait for these things to happen. You got to find yourself in a situation whereby one now start to work at, how do I sustain myself in emergencies? Do I need to create extra form of income? Do I need to create another way of working? Online, ladies and gentlemen, online, network marketing and all those sort of things are there. They are opportunity. I do it. I do it. I have no problem. I do iBoomerang now. You can join me if anything. Got to find different ways of actually sustaining yourself if you have a job which is a 9 to 5, whereby you physically have to be there, because there's going to be some challenging times. And one has got to think and be ingenious in the way that you operate. Okay? So I want to thank you for that. I hope this was helpful in some respect. And thank you for those who joined, and those on Facebook as well, and those on YouTube. Look forward to your response, and share this video as well. And thank you very much. And I believe, I think I should be coming on tonight at 10 o'clock to talk about Boris Johnson and the Home Secretary, Priti Patel, and what is happening with Brexit and on all those sort of things. But for now, just wanted to do a video on the current also, and just to say, take it very seriously. Okay? So thank you very much, all of you, and have a good day. Peace out. Bless you. Cheers. Silburn. Bye.